Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton laid out a 10-year, $350 billion plan to address U.S. student loan debt. After that event, she spoke to reporters about the proposal and the 2016 race.
Well, welcome to Exeter. Before we begin, I want to just say that my thoughts are once again with the people of Ferguson as they mark this painful anniversary. And in light of the continuing violence that we saw last night, violence has no place in our streets, and we should all be working for peace and justice there and everywhere in our country. I'd like to make two quick points and then take your questions. First, in announcing my plan to put college within reach for everyone, the new College Compact, I am emphasizing the two parts to this compact. No family and no student should have to borrow to pay tuition at a public college or university, and everyone who has student debt should be able to refinance it at lower rates. Cost won't be a barrier, and debt won't hold you back under my plan. I wanted to make this announcement here in New Hampshire because students carry one of the highest debt burdens in the country, nearly $33,000 for average graduates of four-year colleges, but obviously much more, as we heard from the last young man that I called on. And the cost of community college here is nearly twice what is paid, next door in Maine. Governor Hassan is working to reverse the dramatic decline in state investment in higher education that has shifted the costs onto students and families, but that's only the beginning of what needs to be done, and certainly the federal government has to be a partner in moving this compact forward. So I'm looking forward to discussing this further tomorrow, then next week in Iowa and elsewhere. Second, I want to add my voice to all those who have expressed outrage and disappointment about the decision last week by the Executive Council to cut off funding for Planned Parenthood in New Hampshire. It's appalling that three men sitting in the chambers of the Executive Council would deny women across this state the health care they need and deserve. It shows yet again why we need more leaders like Governor Hassan and Senator Shaheen who are willing to stand up for women, and just how out of touch and out of date Republican leaders are. That's what we saw at the debate on Thursday night. None of the candidates offered solutions for how to make college affordable or how to raise incomes for hardworking families. They don't even talk about the real pressures facing American families. And while what Donald Trump said about Megyn Kelly is outrageous, what the rest of the Republicans are saying about all women is also outrageous. They brag about slashing women's health care funding. They say they would force women who've been raped to carry their rapist's child, and we don't hear any of them supporting raising the minimum wage, paid leave for new parents, access to quality child care, equal pay for women, or anything else that will help to, give women a chance to get ahead. Megyn Kelly is a strong woman and more than capable of defending herself against Donald Trump. I'm worried about what Republican policies would do to the rest of America's women, and I will continue to speak out and speak up about that today and through the rest of this campaign and in the White House. So with that, hi, I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. You mentioned debates. What do you think of the Democratic National Committee's debate schedule? There have been a number of Republicans, a number of Democrats who have said it's just not enough in New Hampshire. Obviously, Governor O'Malley would like to see more. But beyond that, even some supporters of yours would like to see more. Would you like to see more, and would you participate in more?
I'm looking forward to debating. First, my friends and colleagues on the Democratic side, and then, finally having a chance to debate the Republicans about whatever their nominee has to say. I'm going to show up for the debates as they are scheduled, and I look forward to having a robust, good opportunity to exchange views with my, fellow candidates.
I think one in New Hampshire is enough, though, now?
I'm not going to get into scheduling. I'm just going to show up, and when I'm told to show up, I'll be there and looking forward to it. Well, and, I'm just going to leave my comments where they are. I thought what he said was offensive, and I certainly think that it deserves the kind of reaction that it's getting from so many others. But I think if we focus on that, we're making a mistake. What a lot of the men on that stage in that debate said was offensive. And I want people to understand, if you just focus on maybe the biggest showman on the stage, you lose the thread here. The thread is that the Republicans are putting forth some very radical and offensive positions when it comes to women's lives, women's reproductive health, women's employment, women's opportunities. So I think we'll let the Republicans go back and forth with each other. But I want to point out there's really not that much difference in the policies that they are proposing when it comes to American women.
Do you think you should apologize? Do you think you should apologize?
Kathleen?
When did you last speak to Vice President Biden? Have you asked him for his support? And do you think your friendship will be able to survive another primary campaign?
I consider him a friend. We were colleagues in the Senate. I have the highest regard and affection for him. I spoke to him at his son's funeral, and I think we should all just let the vice president be with his family and make whatever decision he believes is right for him, and I will respect whatever that decision is.
Madam Secretary, regarding Donald Trump, though, his language was different. You can disagree with the Republicans on Planned Parenthood and on a lot of other issues, but his language, how does that differentiate him from any other candidate in either party? Is he qualified to be president of the United States? He's still continuing, he has not apologized, and he made reference today again to the bimbo comment regarding Megan Ford.
Well, the Republicans get to choose their nominee, and they will have to make that decision, Andrew, but I just respectfully disagree with you. When one of their major candidates, a much younger man, the senator from Florida, says there should be no exceptions for rape and incest, that is as offensive and as troubling a comment as you can hear from a major candidate running for the presidency. So the language may be more colorful and more offensive, but the thinking, the attitude toward women is very much the same. It just is delivered in a different package. So I don't want people to be confused here about the outrageous comments by one and just say, we're focused on this and we're going to let the fact that there should be no exceptions for rape or incest go unnoticed or unmentioned. I'm not going to let that happen.
When you refer to a woman questioner at a national debate and refer to her menstrual cycle as the reason why she asked a difficult question, don't you think that that is appreciably different than a profound disagreement over the rights of women, which you
Well,
have,
well,
Marco Rubio, as you've just
Now, Andrea, I said it was offensive. I said it was outrageous. I stand by that. I think more people should say the same. They should be going after him. The Republican Party is going to have to deal with him. But I just want to remind us that what they say about women, not one woman who is perfectly capable and incredibly impressive, able to take care of herself, but all these women that I have fought for, worked for, stood up for, advocated for, and want to be a president for, who may not have the opportunity to defend themselves, who may lose the right to exercise a personal choice if certain of the Republicans were to be successful. I don't want that forgotten. So yes, I know it makes great TV. I think the guy went way overboard, offensive, outrageous, pick your adjective. But what Marco Rubio said has as much of an impact in terms of where the Republican Party is today as anybody else on that stage. And it is deeply troubling, and it should be to the press, not just to those of us who've been doing this work for so long.
Secretary Clinton, Mr. Trump also made a comment, just basically saying that he forced you to go to his wedding by giving money to your campaign. Did you take offense at that?
You know, it's entertainment. I mean, look, it's all entertainment. I think he's having the time of his life, being up on that stage, saying whatever he wants to say, getting people excited, both for and against him.
Are you seeing a side of him that you hadn't seen before?
I didn't know him that well. I mean, I knew him. I knew him, and I happened to be planning to be in Florida, and I thought it'd be fun to go to his wedding because it's always entertaining. Now that he's running for president, it's a little more troubling.
Let's take one more. Gabe.
Hi, Secretary Clinton. The National Nurses Union just backed Senator Sanders a few minutes ago. Do you have any reaction to that? And does it have any impact on your own thinking on seeking endorsements of various labor unions?
Not at all. I was proud to be endorsed by the American Federation of Teachers. I've been proud to work with nurses for many, many years on health care and, better treatment for nurses. I'm a strong advocate for nurses, and I look forward to working with them when I'm president. Nick is the man. I'm sorry, he's the man. I gotta let Nick do what he does here. That's his job. So, okay, guys. Oh, really? What does Donald Trump have to say about college affordability? I would wonder.
Your campaign has said that you would propose paying for this plan with a cap on itemized deductions.
Yes.
8%.
Yes.
Which is a proposal that President Obama has tried several times before.
Right.
How would you go about putting that through a Republican Congress in a different way? How would you sell this plan to Republicans? You said it's ambitious but achievable, but how, considering that the way that you run this is something that's failed?
Well, first of all, that's why you have a campaign. It's going to be at the center of my campaign. I hope that people running for Congress, both the House and the Senate, will latch on to it because I want to get more Democrats elected. That would be a big help toward dealing with the issues you're raising. I also want to make it clear that what I'm advocating, just as what President Obama advocated, goes back to what President Reagan, what the status was under President Reagan. I want them to have to answer to the American people why they don't want to make college more affordable and why they don't want to refinance college debt. This has to be a choice. And so what we're doing is setting up our side of the choice. We're setting up, the proposal that I'm making, and then I'm going to be looking to see what their response is, and then let's have an election about it. And let's have an election about real choices that will actually affect people's lives. That's what I'm interested in. And once I get to the White House, I will do what I've always done when I worked across the aisle as a senator, worked with Republicans when I was Secretary of State and First Lady. I will work very, very hard to put together the votes that are needed to try to get this passed, because I think there will be a huge constituency for it. And what? Well, we're in the middle of an election. I don't know that we'll hear that yet. But I will say this. Some of what Republicans in the Senate are trying to do is very connected to my plan. If you look at some of what Senator Lamar Alexander has been advocating, I have been looking for ideas from Republicans as well as Democrats. That's where I get a lot of the thoughts about accountability for colleges and risk sharing. So if you're going to pretend to educate people and they're not employable, then you have to pay a price for that. And I think, Senator Alexander, whom I've known since he was a governor, I think he and I would have a great conversation about that. He has to do what he has to do between now and the election, but I think there'd be an opportunity to work together, and I would look forward to it. Thank you all. That is not what it is. Thank you all.
I'm the leading state sponsor of terrorism.